was a grim pair of emergency room MDs who gave me only 3 days to live. "You better get your papers in order," they'd said, as if an undisciplined outlaw like me was ever going to have much in the way of legal crap to deal with anyway. They probably thought I was just in denial, but actually it was more just a matter of my not accepting that any authority can tell me when I'll die. Or for that matter, tell me what it means to really be alive. Welcome to another episode of The Plant Healer's Path. If you can possibly hit the like button and share this on social, it will mean a whole lot more people getting to watch them and hopefully benefit. Thank you. Now, those 3 days predicted by the doctors passed by several years ago already, and things have gotten quite a bit better with the help of my healer allies and indeed all the herbs and supplements that they provide. But even if I faced no health issues at this point in my life, I've unarguably reached the age at which most of my relatives succumbed. And yet, my processing about mortality actually began many decades before. Since I was a mere 5 years old, I've looked upon death as a teacher and as a reminder. And I was once called a morbid little kid for talking about how the specter of death rode genially atop my shoulders, ensuring that I keep my troubles in perspective, assisting my determination of my priorities, reminding me of what's truly most important. Then, as a teen, I saw both the danger and the potential in taking chances, leaping off of crazily high bridges into roiling rivers, facing down bullies and abusers far more formidable than myself, disobeying the law at every chance, riding motorcycles at top speeds and clambering up the loose rocks of near vertical cliffs for the challenge as much as to discover what new sights it might provide. I still hold that mindfully taking risk isn't a health hazard so much as a way to carefully test ourselves, to stretch, exceed, and discover. And I've really never felt more alive than when navigating a flood-swollen river, carrying groceries above my head, chancing a romance with highly challenging partners, or standing between targeted old-growth redwood trees and raging bulldozers driven by red-eyed, pissed-off loggers. I seem to notice the brilliant canyon flowers even more than usual when a figurative arrow has just flown by in front of my very eyes. It's said that folks often reconsider their existence and even their attitudes once they've come close to dying, experiencing the near-death revelations as a call to action. But in truth, life itself is a near-death experience, even if we happen to learn nothing from it. Beginning at the moment we are born, death is always close at hand, with a premature end from accidents and disease being a constant possibility. And every day that follows puts us one day closer to our eventual transition and bodily demise. While it would be unhealthy to fixate on morbidity, ignoring death's eventuality easily results in our acting as if another day on the planet is assured, taking our blessings for granted, getting mired in ordinariness and routines, postponing our pleasures, and even putting off the pursuit of our dreams. Many of my readers and viewers of my videos are herbalists, culture shifters, and practitioners seeking to heal themselves, others, and this hurting world. So it can be useful to assess how our perspective on dying might either limit or handicap, or inform and make more effective our caring efforts. Medicine is about easing symptoms and treating disabilities, but you know that it's measured largely by whether or not its subjects live or die. Death marks a failure on the part of the afflicted or the practitioner, and success is usually considered to be a matter of bodily survival, with only some secondary attention to quality of life, let alone to whatever supports essential vitality, growth, and transformation, meaning or fulfillment. Immortality if ever made possible by science, would actually prove a disservice in that there would be less excitement and urgency, with less attention given to relationships, learning, and even to daily enjoyments if people could assume that they had forever to do them in. Natural healing, such as the use of herbs, is far less problematic in most cases than prescribed pharmaceutical drugs, of course. But it proves most beneficial when we broaden our aims to include things like ours and our clients' overall well-being, crucial stress reduction, overall energy levels, vigorousness, enablement, and even personal happiness. Death was long thought of as occurring when the heart stops beating. But advances in resuscitation methods and life support technologies have called for far more complex assessments than that. After all, bodies can continue functioning even without any measurable brain activity evident on those meters, which is why we have the term brain dead. To be sure, an organism can be considered conclusively deceased only at the point where all bodily functions have come to a stop and actual decomposition has begun. But there is still much more to be weighed. It might be helpful to think of dying not as a final mortal moment, but instead as death being something like an arc and a progression, something that happens in degrees. Different organs do not generally all give out at the same time, and the functionality of our bodily systems can vary according to genetic predisposition and specific impacts and conditions. If we approach healing with this in mind, we'll also be measuring healing in terms of increments and won't expect quick or complete resolutions all the time. Instead, we'll be looking for degrees of effect and benefit in our medicines and our protocols, for graduations in repair and improvement, seeing them not just as treatments, but as enlivenments. With this approach, things like life changes in our daily routines, changes in our amount of exercise, meditation or time outdoors, nutritional support, and herbal tonics, all these can take on greater significance and a more important supportive role. If you see health as a condition of wholeness, as I do, then improving health becomes a matter of not just eliminating or lessening the effects of disease, but rather one of strengthening and reweaving all components and aspects of our whole beings into the emotional, psychological, societal, and spiritual. It means encouraging the changes in people's attitudes and activities, their relationships and lifestyles necessary for improvements. In our politics, in our thinking about income and security, and the ways our civilization is destroying or diminishing the natural world upon which our health and our healing will always depend. For the herbalist, just for example, this calls for not just recommending physical therapies or plant remedies when sickness befalls someone, but rather taking herbs and measures preemptively in order to nourish and strengthen, build, and balance. More consideration needs to go to bolstering and to prevention, to equipping and to fueling, to empowerment and to optimization. For the social activist, it means not only opposing systems of injustice, but of building up community from the roots, focusing on mutual support and shared opportunities, and taking chances to reconfigure the whole harmful paradigm. In a friendship or in a marriage, it requires the foundational work of addressing long, unresolved personal issues that are often at the root of any disquiet. Addressing the nourishing and supporting of each other's whole, real selves. And attention to how place, our work, and leisure impact the dynamic of our relationships. The optimum goal in every case should not be cures so much as sustained contributions to a person's vibrance, zest, spunk, and spirit, their capacities and their capabilities, their embodiment and expression, their sensory engagement, their composition and integrity, their subjective manifestation, and their accomplishment. The goal has to be contributing to the healthy, diverse ecosystems, and not just the prevention of plant extinctions. It needs to be to society's potential and its necessary evolution rather than just to the resolution of a single egregious social issue. To the literal arts of healing and love, of betterment and beautification, and of being truly and wholly alive. A goal not to simply survive, but to fully and excitedly thrive. Venture and savor.